Heredity and variation. First, we will discuss that what is heredity. Heredity is actually the transmission of traits from parents to the offsprings. Now the question arises that whether this transmission is in a blending pattern or it is in the form of particular nature. Is inheritance a blending pattern? Till mid of 19th century, the biologists believed that the inheritance is in the form of blending. If it is correct that the inheritance was blending, then it should be problematic. How? That genetic variations would easily diluted during each generation, but the actual was not like this. Blending hypothesis is, according to blending hypothesis, genetic material of the parents it mixes during the process of fertilization. Like if we take the example of the paints, if we mix blue paint with yellow paint, the result would be the green paint. Blending hypothesis was discredited by the experiments of Gregor-Mendel. The experiments of Gregor-Mendel showed that heredity is not blending in pattern, instead it is particulate in nature, because there are certain genetic factors that genetic factors control the traits. According to a particulate hypothesis, parents pass on the discrete units. Those discrete units, at the time of Gregor-Mendel, he called them the factors, but currently those factors they are called as genes. So by the process of, or by the hypothesis of particulate theory, the first definition of the gene was existed. So in case of particulate inheritance, characters which are also called as genes, they passed from parents to the offsprings without changing. In the form of unchanged characters, they pass from the parents to the offsprings. So that was the first definition of the genes. In case of Mendelian inheritance, all those factors, all genes which obey the pattern of inheritance of the laws of Gregor-Mendel, that in genetics is called as Mendelian genetics, and the genes they obey the Mendelian genetics. But there are many genes which do not obey the pattern of inheritance which was proposed or formulated by the Gregor-Mendel. So there is a long list of genes that do not obey that pattern. So if we conclude that what is the heredity? Heredity consists of phenotype as well as genotype. Heredity is the result of the genes. Genes are present on the chromosomes. On the other hand, genes have alleles. Alleles can be dominant and can be recessive. If we conclude about the heredity, heredity is the transmission of traits from the parents to the offsprings, and this transmission is particulate in nature.